Lab-grown meat is not even in stores yet, but Florida is banning the sale of it. A Florida woman called the police on herself during an attempted carjacking. A Florida woman told police officers, "You're not allowed to stop me," but they stopped her. And a Florida man was caught pushing a stolen Coca-Cola fridge down the street after midnight. These are the weird stories for Friday on Weird AF News. They are all from the state of Florida, because on Friday, I only do weird news from Florida. It's called Florida Friday on Weird AF News, and it's a lot of fun. Join me. Lab-grown meat isn't even in stores, but Florida has already banned it. They're banning something in the future. Whoa, mind blown. Way to go, Florida. You're going to ban time machines and teleportation devices as well? Ronnie DeSainton at it again, making grand old decisions. We have lab-grown meat not currently available in any U.S. stores or even restaurants. Not yet. And if some lawmakers have their way, it'll never be. Earlier this month, both Florida and Alabama, they banned the sale of cultivated meat and seafood, which is grown from animal cells. In Iowa, even, the governor signed a bill prohibiting schools from buying lab-grown meat. Federal lawmakers are even looking into restricting it in some ways. Hey, have you ever heard of free market? How about you let the market decide what's going on? Well, you know, give it up to Florida. They'll ban anything that they can get their hands on here. They're banning the books. They're banning the vaccines. They banned drag shows. They banned some words and flags, and now they're going to ban meat. Well, you know, these parties, they do want less government, but then always pushing forward to more government, annoying government, where you're not even allowed to have a choice. The U.S. approved the sale of lab-grown meat for the first time in June 2023, allowing two startups. One is called Good Meat, and another one is called Upside Foods, to sell some cultivated chicken. At that time, two restaurants briefly added these products to their menus, and some cultivated meat companies began expanding their production. One of Good Meat's products went on sale at a grocery in Singapore. But before long, politicians started pumping the brakes. They're scared. They're scared of the lab-grown meat. They're scared of new things. They scare them. Lawmakers in 7 states introduced legislation that would completely ban the cultivated meat. Yeah, but you're okay with hot dogs and Slim Jims from being sold. What is a Slim Jim anyways? Is that even meat? What kind of Frankenstein meat is that? None of this makes sense. Why am I trying to bring reason to the situation? This pushback is happening even though lab-grown meat and seafood are far from reaching the market in any meaningful way anyways, because they're so dang expensive to make right now. Companies have been heavily focused on scaling production to bring down costs and winning government approvals to sell their products. Now they're trying to figure out how to respond to these state bans, such as the one in Florida. Well, tough stuff. I mean, it's hard to change the minds of people like that. I'm not eating that. Don't know what it's made of. Well, actually, all the ingredients are on the side of it. If you'd like to know what it is made of, we've told you. What the heavens pecker is pea protein anyway? That's some chemicals, man. That's chemicals trying to mess up our brains and control us. I know it. A Florida woman called the police on herself while carjacking so she could do it legally. Did we just find the only honest Floridian? A little misguided. Let's learn a little bit about this lady. She seems fascinating. This story's from Tampa, Florida. A Florida lady was arrested after she reportedly called 911 on herself while trying to steal a car from a dealership so she could, quote, do it legally. Hate to be the bearer of bad news for this Florida woman, but even though you called the cops, it's still illegal. I'm so sorry. I like her philosophy, though. It isn't a crime if I'm telling the police I'm doing it, right? We have a Florida woman, Christy Turman, star of the story. She called the Lee County Sheriff's Office because she wanted authorities to know what was going on. She was seeking permission, I suppose. Well, maybe she didn't have her carjack permit. So she's like, I got a fishing license, but can you guys bring me a carjack permit application? I'm going to need it quick because I got the door open. They have a quote from the actual 911 call. This is going to be good. Let's read some of that. She called 911 and said, "I'd like the authorities to know because I'm trying to steal a car that's not legally mine. So y'all better come and make a report. I'm reporting this." Sounds like she's just reporting on her own self, like as though she has an interest in spending some time in prison. Maybe she just wants to get out of those just terrible, hot and humid temperatures. That weather in Florida is brutal right now. Maybe she has no access to air conditioning, and she's like, how do I get in jail and get some AC real quick? Do they have AC in prison? I think they do. Now, the deputies arrived at the car dealership after Christy's tip on herself. They say they found Christy exiting the driver's side of the stolen Toyota Corolla. The 37-year-old told deputies she was being trained in a game of black ops to steal a car, but called the authorities to make her carjacking legal. All right, there's just so much going on here. What is this black ops training she's speaking of? I don't know. Is that what the black ops put you through? You want to be... I mean, don't they put the Navy SEALs through a similar thing? You guys go out there and steal a car and get away with it. Wow, this is really out of control. According to the sheriff's office, Christy was arrested and is facing trespassing charges, among other things. I wouldn't be surprised if she escaped prison, but then called the police on herself to report it. Yeah, if you guys could get over here, I'm at the IHOP having some waffle fries. I just escaped the prison, but I want to make it legal. So if you could come over here and we can make it legal, I'd like to finish my meal. I ain't got nothing but news, babe. 5 days a week. 5 days a week. It's weird news. A Florida woman tells the police, "You're not allowed to stop me," during a car chase. This story is from St. Augustine. A Florida woman led officials on a chase after fleeing from a traffic stop in St. Augustine. Deputies stopped a vehicle driven by Alexandria Mason, who had an active felony warrant. Mason reportedly failed to appear in court over possession of a controlled substance and possession of drug paraphernalia, our favorite word and one that we encounter quite often during our beautiful, lovely, drug-filled Floridaman stories. During the traffic stop, Alexandria can be seen on body camera footage telling deputies, "Wait a minute, you're not allowed to stop me." Which, when translated, actually means, "Come on, man, I can't get caught with all this drug and all this paraphernalia." In the video, after the deputy told Alexandria she actually had an active felony warrant and this was going to be an issue, she just drove away, which caused deputies to scramble to their vehicles to give chase. Alexandria drove onto I-95, and the Florida Highway Patrol joined the sheriff's office in pursuit of her. Subsequently, the Florida Highway Patrol was able to maneuver an ending to the chase and take Mason into custody. Investigators said a stolen firearm, drug paraphernalia, and several controlled substances were inside Alexandria's vehicle at the time. Just the kind of stuff you want in your car when you're navigating life with a felony warrant out for your arrest. Alexandria the Great was charged with aggravated fleeing. Ooh, aggravated fleeing. That's funny. She wasn't just fleeing, she was really aggravated while she was fleeing. Do they mean that she's aggravated, or she made everybody around her aggravated because she was fleeing? Because obviously the police didn't expect that. They were just trying to have a chill day, but then she fled and now they're aggravated. Someone had to work through their lunch break even. So she's charged with attempting to elude a law enforcement officer as well, armed possession of a controlled substance. Armed possession of a controlled substance. What if you have no arms, but you have controlled substances on you? Possession of a drug paraphernalia. I just want to get a shirt that says drug paraphernalia. And DUI with property damage, not just DUI with property damage. It kind of goes without saying. If you're driving under the influence, there's going to be some property damage. Thankfully, she didn't kill a citizen. But I mean, we have to commend her for her effort. She just assumed by saying, "You cannot stop me," that she was going to be allowed to go. She thought that would work. Oh, the police just hate this one trick. Yay! A Florida man was caught pushing a stolen Coca-Cola machine through a neighborhood. Coral Springs police arrested a Florida man they caught pushing a massive Coca-Cola brand refrigerator down Wyndham Lakes Boulevard after midnight. An observant resident called police when they saw Francisco Hernandez, age 34, pushing the large red Coca-Cola fridge, recently stolen from the Coral Springs Walmart. Francisco was pushing it past the witness's home in their neighborhood late at night. Police responded to the scene. Body cam footage shows officers confronting Mr. Hernandez as he tries to transport the refrigerator on a wheelbarrow. On a wheelbarrow? How creative. I mean, in his defense, he was probably thirsty. You know, there was no 7-Eleven on his walk from the swamp back to home. So, you know, or maybe the machine stole his last $1.50 as he was trying to get revenge. You know, it all makes sense if you just throw a Florida man brain into the mix. Now, footage from the police captured a very humorous exchange between Hernandez and the officers. A shirtless Hernandez, he had no shirt on too. This is great. Because when you're stealing large objects and pushing them down the street in a wheelbarrow, you work up a sweat. Let's just be thankful he was wearing pants. He was hanging out in a Walmart parking lot, by the way. I don't even know if pants are allowed in a Walmart parking lot in Florida. Here's a quote from Hernandez, though, with the police. "The sprinklers got on. The wheelbarrow broke." Okay. The officer says, "Hey, where are we going with this?" Hernandez says, "Just here," pointing to a nearby home that he claimed was his residence. "Where'd you get it from?" asked the police. "Well, it's a buddy of mine's. He works actually for Coca-Cola Mexico." I'm trying to figure out, the cop says, "I'm trying to figure out what you're doing out here with a Coca-Cola machine." He says, quote, Hernandez says, quote, this is great. Hernandez says, quote, "Well, I think it's a pretty sick refrigerator." Oh, I love it. It's a pretty sick refrigerator. Look pretty good in my home. Oh my goodness, that's amazing. I need extra space for my Four Locos. Running out of room in my mini fridge, you know. A mini fridge only gets you so far. I needed a full size, man. I wanted a full size job, and I saw this one outside the Walmart. I thought, you know what? Man. I mean, did I say Walmart? No, it's my buddy. He works for Coca-Cola in Mexico. I've been pushing this thing from Tijuana all the way up here to Florida. Oh, man, the interaction continues. After the Florida man Hernandez said it's a pretty sick refrigerator, the officer responded with, "Well, I never said it wasn't cool, but it's just a little weird at midnight for someone to be walking with a Coca-Cola machine down the street." Unbelievable. Hernandez said he started his trek with the fridge around 9:30 p.m., adding that large items were frequently moved by people on the streets at night. It wasn't that odd. What? This is normal to push large items down the street in a wheelbarrow late at night? What? Nothing to see here, officers. Oh, let me rephrase what Hernandez said because it leads to another joke. He claimed that large items were frequently moved by people on the streets of South Beach late at night, to which the officer responded, "Unfortunately, this is not South Beach. It's not normal in this area." He's not even South Beach. Hey, I'll have what Hernandez is having, guys. Yay! Hello, my friends and regular listeners of the Weird AF News podcast. Thank you for joining me for this Florida Friday episode. I want to thank everyone who sent me Florida stories the past couple of days. That was very helpful. You can always email me, funnyjones@gmail.com. I want to give a shout out to Lisa from Finland. Lisa's always involved and always showing support for the Weird AF News podcast. Has bought me many coffees over the years as well. She just bought me another coffee and wrote, "Happy belated birthday, Jonesy." The birthday wish from the kid on the messages was so cute from yesterday. And she also sent me a digital birthday card as well, which is very, very sweet. She's done that before, so I want to give thanks to Lisa. She wrote me a lovely email too. that starts with, I don't know what you were on for today's podcast, but I want some. It was hilarious. You were clearly on your game, Jonesy. Love from Finland. Yeah, I got a nice family up in Finland that enjoyed the show. And if I ever get to Finland, I'm gonna have to stay with your family, Lisa, and we'll drink a lot of coffee together. I'm looking forward to it. Connie from Georgia sent me an email just to let me know, and I'm passing this message on to all of you, that today, June 7th, is actually National Donut Day. So even though it might be late in the day that you're listening to this, it's not too late to grab a donut. Donuts are meant to be eaten any time of day. This might not even be June 7th that you're listening to this. You might be listening to this Monday. Although it's not National Donut Day, you can get yourself a donut and enjoy that. I think every day is okay for a donut. Don't you agree? I don't know what your favorite donut is. I'd love to hear it, but mine is Boston cream. Very rare, hard to find a Boston cream donut, but that's my favorite donut. I would say a close second would be, I like those glazed cake donuts. I like the blueberry one. I like the chocolate one as well. And I also love a nice simple glazed. I think that's a great one. Jelly doesn't really crack the top 5, but I like a jelly donut as well. I love donuts very, very much. Who doesn't? Anyways, happy Donut Day, everybody, and happy Florida Friday. I hope you had a nice weekend, or you're about to have one, or you're having one right now. Listen, if you'd like to support the show because you hit the lottery over the weekend, please go to weirdafnews.com, where you can buy Jonesy a coffee by clicking on Buy a Coffee banner. It's right there on the front page. You can also click on the what is it called? The Patreon banner, and join the Patreon as well. That's like buying Jonesy a donut every month. Why wouldn't you do that? Give me a donut every month. That's pretty cool. So if you'd like to support the shows, there's a lot of shows, over 1,700 episodes of Weird AF News. That's right. I don't know what the record is for one person doing a podcast in a closet, but maybe I ought to reach out to Guinness and see if maybe I'm holding the record. I'd imagine I do. Anyways, I love you all. Thanks for your support, and good luck with your life, man.